Observation, assessments and planning. Exploring the developmental curriculum, the needs of the children and the challenge of teachers to promote creativity. Children, teachers and creative activities. Keynotes for consideration. Children possess both unique qualities and common characteristics which bind them to their environment. Teachers must be certain that their practices do not compromise children's uniqueness or their commonalities. Consequently, it's important for teachers to know the unique differences between each child and be aware of each child's level of development, strengths, abilities, and special personality. Children are often challenged to discover their uniquenesses, while at the same time develop socially adaptable characteristics which enable them to integrate into their families, communities, and greater society. Watching childhood play helps an adult understand the young person. Teachers play the role of facilitator in creative process. As facilitators, we engage in scaffolding by helping them develop new competencies, guide and provide opportunities, and to be sensitive and caring without interfering. Teacher needs to allow the young child to deal directly with materials, acting as an aid rather than as a leader or judge. Talking to children about their art can foster children's ability to express themselves through the arts. Developmentally appropriately early childhood classrooms. Classrooms that demonstrate a maximum interaction among children as they pursue a variety of independent activities in small groups. Teachers prepare the environment with challenging and interesting materials and activities, and then steps back to observe, encourage, and deepen the children's use of them. Teachers ask thought-provoking questions and make appropriate comments. Attention span and children's physical needs. In general, the younger children, the shorter the attention span. However, it varies from individual to individual. Teachers must consider attention span when developing activities. The activities, not too easy, not too challenging, promote greater attention out of children. Young children make it quite obvious when their attention span is waning by a yawn, fidgeting, etc. Teachers need to be able to read these obvious signs of lessening or lost attention. Teachers need to note activities which capture the attention of children longer. Can be vital information for future program development. By changing activities and equipment to keep children matched to their present developmental needs, you are helping the children attend to activities longer on their own. Activity patterns. Start with familiar resources and activities, then move to more complex. Take into account children's physical characteristics. Balanced interplay of time for both large and small tasks. Create activities for young children must also have good balance between active and quiet activities. Both should be incorporated into the single learning setting, since young children have a difficult time sitting still for long periods of time. The younger the child, the greater the tendency to become overstimulated, so the amount of activities for young children should be limited. Transition from group times. Transition from group times to the next activities can be chaotic if the group times are uninteresting, too long, or too demanding. Improve transition stage by sharing the day schedule with the children at the beginning of the day. Allow children to help with the plans and participate in the setting of the limits. Give positive reinforcement when things go well, not just reminders when someone fails to remember. Transitions to free choice time. Assure children that they will have ample time for their favourite activities. This reduces the mad dashes for resources. When balance is inadequate, children behave aggressively, misbehaving and unconstructive play. Children who are bored or frustrated during free time are rarely cooperative during clean-up. Children expressing social emotional needs. Important to help the child find acceptable ways of expressing their feelings by providing activities that are less structured and allow freedom of expression. Children usually let materials and their fantasies take care of the emotions they are feeling. Flexibility and a broad range of available creative activities facilitates creativity. Children need to know about limits, setting them when necessary, and need to be helped so that they can channel emotions in a more positive directions. Behaviour problems demand creative responses from the teachers. A disciplinary situation usually requires divergent thinking on part of the adult. A young child should learn that expressions of some feelings can hurt others, and must understand that it is the means of expression and not the feeling itself that may be harmful. Competition. Young children are naturally compare their work to others and seek their teachers' approval. Teachers should respect children's natural competitive spirit and or the parental values towards competition, but avoid reinforcing competition. Strategies for success. Guidelines for developing creative and developmentally appropriate activities. Preparation. Try the activity before presenting it to the children. Make sure that all necessary equipment is present. Think through the activity and modify the activity if necessary. Explain the activity so that the children know how to begin and proceed. After the children have started, circulate amongst them. Presentation of creative activities. In planning for each activity, the teacher should identify goals and possible learning for the activity, list materials necessary for the activity, determine how to set up the activity, decide how to stimulate and maintain children's interest, anticipate questions the children may ask, plan ways to evaluate the activity, consider follow-up activities, consider clean-up time and requirement. Hints towards the facilitation of activities. Dramatic play, creative movement, singing, outdoor activities and small group projects should all take place within each week. Do not move too fast when presenting new ideas or activities for young children. Activities should be repeated so that the children learn new ways of approaching the materials, expand their understanding through repetition. Proper sequencing should give close attention. Activities should build upon each other. Once a child is involved in creative activity, a few words of encouragement may be all that is needed to keep the child interested. Children need enough time to finish an activity. At the end of each day, teachers need to evaluate the day's activities. Ideas for the next day can be revised or created based on what then appears best. A person who works with young children must always be open to new information and feedback. Completing a creative activity. Finishing an activity involves clean-up, and young children can be very helpful with this. Pro-social behaviours can be acquired if the teacher takes time to teach them about clean-up. Young children usually want to help out and enjoy feeling needed. Arrange the environment so it's possible for the children to assist with clean-up. Children can put away materials when they clearly understand where the materials belong. Empower children by assigning roles during clean-up and rotating roles to guarantee fairness. Give children ample notice before clean-up time approaches. Give them second and third reminders after about 5 to 10 minutes. Teacher can circulate around the room giving quiet notice. Completing an activity is important to young children, and teachers have to allow time for individual differences in finishing creative activities. Children stop when they are satisfied with what they have produced. Teachers of young children realize that the decision to stop must be the child's. To ask a child who has stopped working to add what might be created or to evaluate the item for reworking will violate the child's creative integrity. How preschoolers develop and learn. The preschool years, 3 to 5 years, are a special time in the life of young children. Children develop across multiple domains of development, social, emotional. Social and emotional development, socialization, the process by which children learn the values and behaviors accepted by society. The 3 goals for social and emotional development: achieving a sense of self, taking responsibility for self and others, and behaving in a pro-social way. Social and emotional competence are essential to children's well-being and success in school and in life. A child who is socially and emotionally ready for school is confident, friendly, able to develop good relationships with peers. able to concentrate on and persist at challenging tasks, able to communicate frustrations, anger and joy effectively, able to listen to instructions and be attentive. Physical development. Children master increasingly sophisticated tasks and gain personal responsibility for their own physical needs. 2 goals for the physical development: achieving gross motor control and achieving fine motor control. In many ways, physical development promotes social and emotional development. The reverse of this is also true. Physical education in early grades supports children's academic achievement, general health, self-esteem, stress management and social development. Cognitive development. The 3 goals for cognitive development is learning and problem solving, thinking logically, representing and thinking symbolically. The ability to make another's perspective leads them into friendship where they can share their feelings and experiences. Language development. Language becomes an essential tool for establishing relationships with adults and other children. 2 goals for language and development: listening and speaking, reading and writing. Between the ages of 3 to 5, children's vocabulary can grow dramatically. Listening, speaking, reading and writing develop independently in children. Ages and stages of development. 3-year-olds. Social emotional development. Learning to trust people around, which gives them confidence to become independent. At this age, social competencies does not develop fully. Physical development. The play is more sustained and focused than toddlers' play. Gross motor activities are a great source of pleasure. Cognitive development. 3-year-olds are exploring with thoughts and ideas and use all their senses to make sense of the world around them. They consult objects only one characteristic at a time, are egocentric, and many are able to show empathy. Language development. Most 3-year-olds can use plural terms, talk in sentence, recite simple rhymes, and ask questions. Love to share their thoughts with others and participate in conversation. 4-year-olds, social and emotional development. They're a wonderful mix of independence and sociability. Love imitating adult behavior and playing groups of 2 or 3. Physical development. Are increasingly able to control their muscles. Their fine motor coordination improves dramatically as well. Cognitive development. 4-year-olds are enchanted by principles of cause and effect and always want to know why things happen. Language development. The language of 4 years old progresses rapidly. They like to use big words and deeply enjoy their ability to communicate. 5-year-olds. Social development. They are increasingly independent, self-sufficient individuals. They are dependable and responsible. They are exceedingly social. 5-year-olds prefer cooperative play to solidarity or parallel play. Physical development. They show more agility, balance and coordination in both gross and fine motor skills. Cognitive development. They learn new concepts, experimentation and discovery. They are able to think in complex ways, can categorize by 2 features such as color and shapes. Language development shows significant growth in communication skills. They have adult-like word order, using pronunciation like a grown-up. They begin to extend their oral language skills to reading and writing. The teacher's role is an ongoing cycle of interacting with children and making decisions about when and how to meet individual and group needs. Cycle has 3 parts: observing children, guiding children's learning, and assessing children's learning. Observing children. Initial observations may be informal. Gradually make better observations in order to properly guide learning. Informal observations occur naturally throughout the day. Keep file cards or post-its handy in order to jot down what you hear and see. Should schedule regular formal observations. Watch 1 or more children systematically and record what you hear and see. Try to have another adult with children, it could be a parent or co-teacher, so that you can be free to do planned observations. Observation notes will provide rich information that can be used for evaluation and analysis. Observation notes should be objective and functional, should not reveal your impressions, interpretations or assumptions. Notes should not include labels, intentions, evaluations, judgments or negatives. Notes should include descriptions of an action, quotations of language, description of gestures, facial expressions and creations. The more familiar you are with the goals and objectives of all the children, the more efficient you will be at observing and recording what you see. Use a range of teaching approaches is most effective. Child-initiated learning, when you want children to explore and construct an understanding on their own. Teacher intentionally creates an interesting and rich environment that offers children choices. Furniture arrangement, daily routines, material selection and social climate are all important. Teacher-directed learning involves planning how to teach a concept or skill, materials needed, and determining if it should be taught individually, to a group or whole class. Life in the classroom requires a range of teacher involvement. Talk with the children about their work, ask children closed and open questions. Adapt instructions to include all children, gifted children. Stock interest areas with interesting and challenging materials. Follow children's interest. Teach to the child's strengths and have realistic expectations. Children with disabilities use clear visual cues, use transition preparation techniques, use peer buddies as teaching models, use visual and tactile props, encourage active participation in outdoors and gross motor play, and have calming activities before returning to sedentary activities. Have child's attention before giving new rules. Assess and identify the need for assertive technology with specialist help. Second language learners learn words in the child's home language. Use concrete objectives and gestures. Establish a classroom community. Use lots of repetition, running commentary and actions as you talk. Establish familiar routines. Assist children in social grammatical play. Be patient, give them time to get their words together and involve families. Promote learning in interest areas. Teachers teach content, children explore materials. In-depth or long-term studies allow teachers to integrate content areas and address developmental goals. Select an appropriate topic. Create a web of important ideas. Determine how content, knowledge and process skills can be learnt through this study. Discuss topic with children. Inform the families of proposed study topic. Use forms to organise materials and plan activities. Assemble relevant materials and resources. Facilitate investigations. Document findings and plan special events to end study. Assessment is the process of gathering information about children in order to make decisions. For identified purposes, assessment to support learning, assessment to identify special needs, assessment for program evaluation and monitoring trends, assessment for program and school accountability, collecting facts, documenting observations, analyze and evaluate collected facts, collecting the children's work in portfolios. Portfolios can be used to share information with families, help children reflect on their work and recognize their own skills and progress. Review a child's progress, set goals, and plan instructional technologies. Completed work can be compared over time, such as drawings, paintings, collages, weaving, writing, scribbles, letters, names, numbers, signs. A book made by the child. Use what you've learned to plan. Plan for each child. Review progress in social and emotional development. Review progress in gross and fine motor development. Review progress in cognitive development. Review progress in language development. Plan for the group. Identify which children need more focused instruction on certain skills. Large group and small group instruction.